The Batman is crushing it at the box office and is also crushing it when it comes to attaining my love of it. This movie is amazing.
In it, we saw Catwoman introduced to the DCEU, or at least some version of the DCEU, as we are not sure exactly where this falls in terms of the canon yet.
Honestly, I'm not sure where anything falls in the DCEU in terms of the canon. With the Flash expected to clean up continuity though, it got us wondering, who else would we like to see introduced in the DCEU?
And specifically, who is from the Bat family? I'm Ben.
And I'm Amanda, and this is Top 10 Nerd.
Join us as we count down the top 10 Bat family members we want in the DCEU.
Number 10, Orphan. Sure, we've already gotten a version of Cassandra Cain with the Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey film, and don't get me wrong, I absolutely love that movie. It's one of my all-time favorite movies, hands down. And not even just within superhero film rankings, just in general, I really love that movie. And I enjoyed the version of Cassandra that we got in that film. But she wasn't really much like the version of Orphan and Cass Cain that we are more familiar with from the comics. And it might be cool to see another version of that character that offered something more in line with Cassandra's tragic backstory, her level of shyness, as well as her deadly moves. I don't know what this is. Not deadly, I'll tell you that much. In the comics, Orphan is the moniker for Cassandra, the daughter of David Cain and Lady Shiva. A deal was struck between her parents for David to end up with full custody of Cassandra, so he might train her to be one of the deadliest assassins and weapons in the world. He did just that, but fortunately, one day Cassandra escaped her evil father and found her way to Gotham. There she would end up meeting Batman and become his ally, eventually joining the Bat family and becoming known as Batgirl.
At number 9, we have Lucas Fox, aka Batwing. Now, Luke isn't actually a blood relative of Bruce Wayne, obviously, but he joins the Bat family through training and hard work. Much to the chagrin of his wealthy father, Lucas Fox uses his extreme intellect not to climb corporate ladders, but to prepare himself for the sought-after position of Batwing. He spends his time cage fighting, trying to get Batman's attention, and gearing up for the chance that Batman offers him a position as Batwing. This comes at a perfect time because David Zavimbe had just retired from taking on the mantle, so Lucas gets the job. He's first brought on as a sort of tech support for the Batman family, repairing the Belfie headquarters as well as disabling a mini nuke that was gonna destroy the whole city. So when he's officially induced into the family, he's finally allowed to help Batman in efforts like taking down the Penguin. But his strongest suit tended to still be as a tech expert, designing a new bat suit for John Paul to save him from his insanity and fall to the spirit of Azrael. He's a real asset to the Batman family, and we hope to see him represented in some way in coming DCEU projects.
Number 8, Azrael. Azrael was once the hero that Bruce Wayne most trusted to take his place as Batman. He left Gotham in Azrael's, aka John Paul Valley's, hands after his back was broken by Bane. Azrael had a hard time letting go of the mantle though when Bruce miraculously managed to heal and returned to take back the cape and cowl. But he's been an ally to Batman again in the past, despite how everything ended in more of a fight that time around. Azrael believed the Order of Saint Dumas, who he fought for, was just initially, but came to question the order over time. And more than that, Jean Paul in the past has also had to question his own sanity as well. He's also an interesting one to have as a part of the Bat family in the DCEU, because if they decided to take some influence from his character in the White Knight universe, he could be a part of the Bat family in more ways than one, as in that universe he is a true Wayne as well.
At number 7, we have Damian Wayne. This character would be a great addition to any Batman movie or show, not only because he's one of Batman's most recent Robins, but also because he's Bruce Wayne's son. And what makes things even more spicy is that he's basically evil. I mean, his mother is a supervillain, Talia Al Ghul, and daughter to another one of the world's greatest supervillains, so villainy kinda runs in the family. And when Damian Wayne is being brought up by his mother, it's kept from Bruce that he even exists for most of his upbringing, which is a tragedy because Bruce probably wouldn't have approved of Damian training in the League of Assassins, becoming a skilled assassin at a young age. When Damian is brought to Batman's attention, however, things don't get much better, as Damian has a much more aggressive disposition than his father. In the Injustice storyline, Damian even betrays Batman by teaming up with an evil Superman and facing off against the whole Justice League. Although there are moments where Damian shows heroic tendencies, he's not the most cooperative sidekick to Batman. And I just think that all these themes of family drama, power struggle, and good versus evil would just be great additions to any new project in the DCEU.
Number 6, Red Hood. Obviously, Jason Todd has a lot of fans when it comes to him being kind of like the middle child of the Bat family. He's more of a loner than most of the other Bat family members, and that's really saying something, because this is a family that includes the Dark Detective himself, himself as its patriarch. Bruce himself isn't always known for being the most team-oriented or most cuddly of characters. Jason Todd himself has been through a lot and is a complex character. He's been a sidekick, a hero, a villain, an anti-hero, and he's been through a lot along the way. There are many fans out there who would love to see him join the DCEU and take to the big screen because of this, and I think the character is continually building popularity in shows like Titans just proves how well he can transcend to live-action mediums.
One of the oldest characters on this list, Clayface, or Basil Karlo, makes his first appearance in the original Detective Comics series in 1940. This villain is basically a jealous actor who becomes enraged when he isn't offered the lead role in a remake of a film he had formerly starred in. So he adopts the persona of the deformed Clayface, the character in one of his earlier horror films, as you do. You know, I know what you're thinking. This guy does not sound like a family man, but what's great about this character is that he is basically turned from the dark side by Batman and Batwoman and invited to join the Gotham Knights. While he's teamed up with the Bat family, he spends time with Dr. Victoria October, who develops a serum to cure him of his aggression and delusions. Unfortunately, however, Clayface takes over again while Basil Karlo is trying to cure a Gotham neighborhood from a man-made serum that turns them all into monsters, ironically. And Batwoman needs to shoot him. But right as he's lying there dying, he's cured of his monstrosity. But then he still dies. But if you ask me, I think this character's storyline is pretty unique, and he's one of the OG Batman characters, which gives him some points. Plus, I just think it would be so cool to see what visual effects artists do with the look of this guy if he appeared in the DCEU. Or maybe it would just be gross.
Number 4, Ghostmaker. Ghostmaker was actually a character that I was ready to dislike when he first appeared in the comics, and yet the more I got to know him, the more I really fell for this character. Ghostmaker is known as Koa Khan. He was a figure from Batman's past, a friend he had made while training out in the world when he was younger. Koa and Bruce seemed to want similar things, but each had their own approach and own motives for what they did as vigilantes. Ghostmaker is also somewhat psychotic. He doesn't seem to feel empathy or fear like most other people do, having more of a disconnect there. Although he does occasionally seem capable of empathy depending on the circumstances. He is just as deadly as Bruce and initially showed up in the pages of Batman as an antagonist who was striving to prove he was actually better suited to be the hero of Gotham than Batman was, and that his methods were actually more efficient and effective in comparison. In the end, however, he ended up joining forces with Batman, acting as his ally as he was welcomed into the Bat family fold.
Okay, at number 3, I've chosen to put a doggo, because you don't often see animal characters worked into superhero movies tastefully. And I think the DCEU has a golden opportunity to give it a shot. Although maybe that's been proven a bad idea already with that new DC League of Super Pets movie coming out. I don't know. Personally, no. Too many superhero animals in one movie. I think if they added Ace into a more typical, serious DC storyline in tasteful ways, it would be a great challenge for the DCEU and give the bigger fans something to chew on. I mean, Ace isn't just a regular dog. He appears a few times with powers, like in Batman issue 133 when he's endowed with crypto-level powers for a time, or in Detective Comics 623 and 624 when he's portrayed as sort of a demonic beast with telepathy and an appetite for criminals. Or if they wanted, they could just keep him cute and innocent, like in Ambush Bug number 3 or Animal Man number 25. However he's portrayed, I think the DCEU or even the MCU haven't yet perfected the incorporation of animal characters, often coming off as corny or campy. But if it was done right, Ace the Bathound might be a great addition to a DCEU project, helping to ground the humanity of the characters or even enhance the world of the story as a superpowered pupper.
Number 2, Nightwing. One character that has become even more popular somehow in the last few years, despite already being one of the most well-known Bat family members, is Nightwing, aka Dick Grayson, aka Batman's first Robin, and really his first son in my heart. Adopted son, of course, but that isn't really significant when we're talking about the bond between Batman and Robin and Bruce and Dick Grayson. Well, I don't know if we'd see Nightwing as an adult or see him under his Robin mantle first. He certainly would be a cool one to have in the DCEU. We know we are getting Batgirl, aka Barbara Gordon, who's often known for being one of Dick Grayson's main love interests, and we already have Batman, so I think it might be cool to see a version of Nightwing who has already been Batman's partner and is breaking out on his own. After all, most of us are already familiar with the Batman and Robin story, so I think this is one where the origin might not need to be covered in depth for us to just jump right in.
Okay, finally, at number 1, we have Talia Al Ghul, skilled supervillain and disgruntled ex to Bruce Wayne. Talia is a very complex character in the Batman family, having brought up Bruce's son, Damian, without him knowing for the most part, as I mentioned before. But the way that she ended up pregnant with Batman's son is even more sinister, having seduced Bruce Wayne into thinking he was in love, when really it was kind of just a ploy to merge the Wayne and the Al Ghul families. She just wanted an heir to put into the League of Assassins. That's like if somebody married you just to have a kid with you, dumped you, then put the kid into terrorist camp without you knowing, for like 8 summers in a row. It's just not good. I will say though, that she is credited with taking down the Red Hood gang, but somehow that doesn't seem to redeem her training the League of Assassins or trying to take out Batman Incorporated and capitalism as a whole with the Leviathan organization. Talia Al Ghul really poses a threat to Batman by taking advantage of his human emotions, sort of like Catwoman, except at least Catwoman seems to have a soft spot deep down. This just doesn't seem to be the case with Talia, who I think would add a lot to the DCEU.
So, which Batman family members would you like to see in the DCEU?
Leave your thoughts in the comments section below and let us know what you think. I'm Ben Ball.
And I'm Amanda McKnight. Thanks for watching Top 10 Nerd, and as always, stay nerdy.